We're at week number 4 of our journey together, and today we're talking about our human neediness and the pain of our unmet needs. A friend told me that she went to fill up her car with gas at a random gas station and had no brand name. She filled up her car, got back into her seat, drove all the way from Brooklyn to Queens, parked, she got out, and she went on her way. When she came back to her car, about an hour or two later, the car wouldn't start. It was dead. Nothing she tried could get it to start. She had to get it towed. It turned out that the gas she'd put in at that gas station actually wasn't gas. It was diesel. Diesel is the fuel for trucks. It works for trucks. It's not meant for cars. When she filled her car with diesel, there were no sparks flying. Nothing happened that would alert her to the mistake that was about to break her car. It looked like it was working. It carried her. It fueled her ride all the way from Brooklyn to Queens. But it was diesel. So somewhere along the way, it killed her engine. It's the same with us. In a mimer entitled Shir HaMailas Mima'amakim, which is printed in Chassidus Mevo'eres Moyadim, Volume 1, the Baal HaTanya expounds on the words of Shema, and explains why we refer to Hashem as Elokeinu, our power. Hashem is not just Hashem Elokim, not just the power in the heavens or in the world at large. Hashem is Elokeinu, our personal power. In the words of the Baal HaTanya, Hashem is koichesecha v'chayusecha, your strengths, your energy, and your life force. Every engine needs fuel. Like the engine of a car is powered by fuel, each of us is powered by Hashem himself. He is koichesecha v'chayusecha. He's our strength. He's the life of our life. When you have a busy day and you don't have time to eat, what happens when you come home starving hungry? What do? I can tell you what I do. I eat the first thing I see. Emotional energy is like food in that way. We can't live without it. And when we're hungry for it, we'll take whatever we can get. Hashem is our Elokecha. He's our power, the life of our life. He's our fuel. We're wired to get energized and recharged by plugging into our source. And our source is Hashem. In Pirkei Avos it says, Da ma melamayla mimach. The actual translation of these words is know what is above you. Know what is above from you. The Maggid of Mezrich taught a deeper meaning. He said, know that whatever happens above is from you. Spiritual energy, ruchnius energy, is real. But if we experience this energy, or if we don't, that depends on us. Da ma melamayla mimach. What comes from above comes as a result of us. At this moment, Hashem is giving us energy and fueling our life. How can we feel it? How can we access it? Mimach. It will come from within us. When we believe it's there, when we think about it and allow ourselves to experience it, we actually receive it. We activate it. Let's do a quick recharge for a minute. In your mind's eye, bring up all the good things you know about Hashem. Hashem, the Ribbono Shel Olam himself, is awesome and wondrous beyond description. The ultimate source of every blessing and every form of goodness we could imagine. For 5 seconds, think about who Hashem is. And now, this same Eibishter, Hashem himself, is taking of his beautiful infinite light, his own magnificent, unstoppable energy, and releasing it, delivering it. Let it stream directly to you. Straight to each of us. There are no interruptions to this light. There's nothing getting in its way or slowing it down. It's surging forth straight from Hashem to you. Let's breathe it in. Take in this energy. Let it fill you up. As it enters you, you're no longer a weak, helpless person floundering around in a big world. You're a part of Hashem himself. And the situation that you're in right now, the place you're standing, the phone call you're about to make, the work or task you're about to do, the problem that's in your face, you're Hashem's representative to that inch, to that space. Take his strength, take his courage, take his dignity, take whatever strength you need, and go make this moment beautiful. Take Hashem's light and let it shine in whatever you're doing right now. If you visualize this life force, you just tapped into the flow of koichesecha v'chayusecha. It's just one way to do it. You can give yourself other words, obviously. Did you feel strengthened, validated, empowered? The more Hashem matters to us, the more His presence and His light within us matters to us. If you're not already taking time to think about Hashem every day, start now. Start today. Take 30 seconds to think about who Hashem is. And another 30 seconds to visualize His life within us, to literally see it and reach out and take it. Take whatever strength and courage you need from Him. His supply is unlimited and unstoppable, and it's available. Take it and run with it. Take it and shine with it. The more we think about Hashem's greatness, the more real it becomes to us. And the more real it becomes to us, the more strength and goodness we could activate in our lives. Da ma milamayla mimach. What if we're not aware of this flow of energy? What if we're not consciously taking energy from Hashem? Koyach and chayas are essential needs. So if we're not taking it from Hashem, there is an emptiness at the core of our beings. We bring our empty tank into all of our relationships. We relate to people as if their love, their validation, their support is our koyach and our chayas, as if their stuff is filling our essential needs. A woman who was taking this course, after hearing this concept, she came back the next week and she said, this week I got a phone call from my daughter's principal telling me how wonderful my daughter is. And whoosh, I could feel my dignity spike really high. Wow, I'm a great mother. A couple of hours later, my neighbor came by and told me that my son spit on her. Whoosh, my validation disappeared. My dignity disappeared. Such things happen all the time. But because we had just been talking about this, I was able to notice what was going on inside of my heart. I saw myself, I could literally stand back and see it. I saw myself gain so much dignity, and then I saw myself lose it all. I saw that whoosh and that whoops. I found it so funny. Of course, it's normal to feel happy when we see nachas, and we feel less happy when the news is unpleasant, but this was more. This was, wow, I'm good, and standing tall, and then, oish, I'm a failure, and feeling worthless. I realized that if I take my essential primal validation and dignity from Hashem, then it's always there. It's not changeable. I might win some smiles, I might lose some, but they're just smiles. They're not me. They're not koychesecha v'chayusecha. When Hashem is our koyach and the life of our life, it's like having a bag of dignity and worthiness that is always full. Can you imagine a cookie jar that every time you take out a cookie, it's just automatically replenished? That's like our bag of dignity. It has a pipe that's connected to Hashem. There's an infinite supply. When we experience a moment of failure, we didn't lose anything major because our bag of dignity, validation, and koyach and chayis is automatically being refilled. And when we experience a moment of success, we could enjoy it. This moment of success, this compliment, this accomplishment, it's not what's making us stand 10 feet tall. It's not our maker or breaker. We're already standing tall. It's just making us smile. We could sit back and enjoy it. If we're taking our essential validation from other people, it appears to work well. It can take us all the way from Brooklyn to Queens. It can carry us all the way through a week or a day or a month. But somewhere along the way, the relationship doesn't remain peaceful and happy. And I'm sure you know what I mean. It can't remain peaceful. If someone is my power, if the quality of my life depends on that person, then I can't just sit back and enjoy the relationship. I need to control what's going on here. It's too important. I need to make sure I'm getting what I need. I need to make sure I'm getting recognition and validation that has equal value, or at least some measurable value, to what I'm giving. Nobody intentionally walks over to another person and says, okay, I'm going to use you today as my source of strength. You're going to be the life of my life. We don't consciously do that. But dignity, worthiness, validation, strength, and life, koychesecha v'chayusecha, are essential needs. So automatically, subconsciously, if we're not filling these needs with Hashem, then we are filling them with other people. And that's why, until we do the work of letting Hashem be our first and foremost source of strength, the most important relationships in our lives are the most complicated. It's not simple giving and sharing. It's taking care of our essential need for validation and energy and life force. The relationship becomes complicated. Unless we do the work of letting Hashem be our first and foremost source of energy, the most important people in our life are also the ones we often feel hurt by. I heard that Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach had an interesting practice. Every day at the end of the day, when Reb Shlomo Zalman was ready to come home, he would first eat something. This was his established practice. Soon as he'd come home, he'd eat a full meal. His wife always had food ready for him, but before he came home, he ate a snack. And someone once asked him, why do you make sure to eat before you get home if you're just going to eat when you get there? Reb Shlomo Zalman's answer is a message we can use for all of our relationships. Reb Shlomo Zalman said, a person should not come home hungry. We shouldn't come to our life or to our relationships hungry. Let's take Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach's advice. It's so profound. We want to come to our relationships well-fed, like a rich person. Our bag of dignity and validation should be infinitely full. We're filling up on Hashem. There are no limits. To a rich man, $100 is kind of cute. It's fun. It's a cherry on the top of his very full cake. He can give it to you without feeling like he's sacrificing something. And if you give him $100 as a gift, you're not making any real difference to his bank account. When you hand it to him, you won't trigger an intense emotional reaction. He may enjoy the extra money. He can use it for a little extra pleasure in his life, but there'll be no drama around that $100. He'll thank you, and that's the end of it. No commotion, no urgency, no story to tell at the end of the day. It was no big deal. What's $100 to a poor man? What's $100 to someone who has not even one nickel to his name? It's an important amount of money, you bet. He doesn't have extra to share. And if you give him $100, you're making a monumental difference to his day. When you hand it over, there's a lot of drama and intense emotions. You pulled him out of poverty. You saved him. He urgently needed that money. The rich man is simply grateful. The poor man is profoundly grateful because the poor man feels dependent on the money. Now, it may seem that the poor man has more happiness, more joy, but his positive feeling is coupled measure for measure with fear and anxiety. What if nobody helps me tomorrow? What if this goodness never happens again? His fear could actually lead him to feel resentful towards the same person he was busy thanking so graciously. He may think, ugh, you see how much I need this? You see how much I'm thanking you? Why don't you give me more? You're stingy. You're mean. You're uncaring. In every relationship, there is an exchange of love, understanding, support, kind words, and kind actions. That's the currency. That's the wealth of a relationship. We want to be so rich that we can give and take $100 bills without it making any real difference to our emotional bank account. We want to love people without worshiping them. We want to respect people without fearing them. How do we become rich like that? There are no secret paths. Hashem is our source. Hashem is our chayes. Every morning, when he gives us our neshama, he gives us himself. He gives us free access to an infinite supply, all the wealth of the most awesome positive energy, validation, support, strength, courage, dignity. All we have to do is swipe that card, use it, bank on it. In the 1950s, the Lubavitch Rebbe sent a young couple on shluchus to Australia. Rabbi Yitzchak and Dvorah Groner were one of the first shluchim, and they traveled across the globe away from their families, away from everything that was familiar to them, to change the landscape of Melbourne, Australia, and the surrounding areas. This was in the 1950s, and there were many challenges along the way. It was a whole different world and a whole different Australia than the thriving Yiddish community that's now there. One time, Rabbi Groner went into Yechidus, a private audience with the Rebbe. In his letter, he wrote about many problems that he was facing. He was overwhelmed by the challenges, and he really needed the Rebbe's help. And the Rebbe asked him, "Und als ich will mitfahren mit dir, wird es sein geringer? If I'll go with you, will it be easier?" Of course, Rabbi Groner said yes. The Rebbe then said, "Ich fahr mit dir. I'm going with you." As I was thinking about this interaction, I wondered, about the Rebbe's question. Why did the Rebbe have to ask, will it matter if I come with you? He could have just said straight to the point, I'm coming with you. It would have been comforting enough, right? But this is how Ruchnius energy works. Da ma milamayla mimach. It has to come with our own awareness. It has to come with our own invitation. If Hashem matters to us in a real way, that's when we feel his strength in a real way. If we believe it, that's how we see it. That's how we activate it in a practical, tangible way. So every day, at least once a day, do a simple action that says, Hashem, you matter to me. You're the life of my life, the life of every person I love. I need you. I depend on nobody and nothing but you. It could be the simplest action, like saying a bracha, shehakol niyeh b'dvarei. At least once a day, pick up a glass of water and slowly say the words. Say each syllable clearly. And as you say the bracha, think about what you're saying. Everything comes only from Hashem's word. Feel that liquid going down. You ever take a drink of water and like feel it going into you, entering you, refreshing you? It's Hashem's word. Look at the mezuzah as you leave and enter the house. Take 5 seconds to think about how everything and everyone in the house belongs only to Hashem. It's his home. He lives here and he's in charge. He's the owner. We're his representatives. Notice how the mezuzah is slanted forward, showing that Hashem is embracing us. Put a dime into the pushka. Think about how our tiny act of goodness matters so much to Hashem that it brings the geula closer. Gedayla tzedakah shemekareves es hageula. Say moida ani and learn what the words mean. Daven. Even if it's just Shema. Read the English translation of the tefillah Adain Olam. Say this most meaningful tefillah. Sing it. You don't even have to say it with Hashem's name. Sing it. If you're not saying it in davening, sing it as you wash your dishes. Say nishmas on Shabbos. Mitzvahs are like the pipelines, the channels through which Hashem's energy flows into us. The simple act of doing a mitzvah feeds us. It gives us koyach and chayas. Even a small action that takes a few seconds can make a huge difference right now, and especially over time. When the reason we're doing this act is to reinforce our belief in the fact that Hashem himself is the one who gives us our koyach and our chayas, that's what our action will accomplish. Doing that action, whatever it is, will help us activate the truth that Hashem is kochesecha v'chayusecha. Knowing that Hashem is Elokecha, our strength and our life force, is the key to our emotional strength. And it's also the foundation of our physical needs. Let's talk about that for another minute here. Every person has a cup of needs that begs to be filled. We need good health. We need money to pay the bills. We need food, clothing, and a space to live. We need human love. We need physical safety and security. We need to get married. We need to have children. We need our children and everyone in our lives to be healthy. We need shidduchim for our children, and the list goes on. Every need is real. Until Mashiach comes, there's no such thing as a cup that's perfectly and permanently full. And each of us feels pain when facing our personal emptiness, whatever that emptiness may be. How can we be happy when our cup is empty of something that we really need? Happiness is not really about how much or little is in our cup. Happiness is about the cup itself. Let's talk about the cup. The cup is metaphorically, obviously, it's a mashal. The cup is our essential neediness for connection with Hashem. The name of the cup is kochesecha v'chayusecha. It's the fact that Hashem is our energy and the life of our life. Our neediness for connection with Hashem is part of who we are. It's constant and urgent. It's our cup that holds all our blessings. In the alternate reality where Hashem is hidden, we don't bother with the cup. It's irrelevant. We say, recharging with Hashem, are you kidding? First, let me live. First, I have to take care of my human needs. First, let me be a person. That's just as ludicrous as saying, I cannot deal with the leaks in my cup. First, I have to put in a lot of stuff. For a Jew, a person whose life force is Hashem himself, having a healthy connection with Hashem is a primary human need. It's not just spiritual. It's the truth of how we were created to exist. It's the truth of how we operate and the truth of how we could thrive in our very physical world. If we want to be happy in our lives and we want to have our needs met, we'll invest plenty of time with the cup, plenty of energy feeding our dependency on Hashem, because only a sealed, preserved, solid cup can hold the goodness that we want. And we want a good cup to hold a lot of brachas. When we ignore the cup, when we're not satisfying our dependency on Hashem, our cup becomes like a bottomless vessel. It's a bottomless cup. It can't ever be filled. We're constantly using people and using things to fill ourselves up, but we never get full. We're in pain, and nothing can ever make us happy. We become slaves to our physical needs. What goes into our cup eats up our cup along with the rest of us. We can't even contain the goodness that we're pursuing. Nothing we get from outside could replace the cup that must be strengthened from the inside. There are two major differences between our body's need for physical stuff and our neshama's essential need for connection with Hashem. The obvious difference is that we could see our bodies and our physical needs. We could see what we want, while we cannot see our dependency on Hashem. We can't see our neshama. We can't see a kochesecha v'chayesecha. That's the first difference. We could see ruchnius. We could see gashmius. We can't see ruchnius. The second difference is this. We have zero control of what goes into our cup or what doesn't. Though Hashem wants us to invest effort in filling our needs, all that we get or don't get inside of our cup, all that we have or we don't have, is completely dependent on Hashem. We have zero control over anything or anyone. As for the cup itself, we have absolute control of how strong and healthy our cup is. Our spiritual and emotional well-being is entirely in our hands. This truth is expressed by Chazal, and we're all familiar with this Chazal. Hakol bidei shamayim chutz me'yer shamayim. Everything is in the hands of heavens except for our fear of heaven. Everything that goes into the cup is in Hashem's hand, except for the cup itself. The cup itself is in our hands. When we speak and act in a way that reflects our complete dependency on Hashem, it's like watering our roots, nourishing and strengthening the core of our being. When you strengthen the foundation of a building, you could add floors to the building. The building could stand taller. So too, when we deepen and strengthen our core self, when we're actively connected with Hashem, we stand taller. We do the opposite of that when we become driven to please and satisfy other powers. We create blockages between who we are and how we're living. Our wellspring of aliveness, which thrives when we feed our dependency on Hashem, gets stifled and choked. Let's fix the cracks in our cup. Let's strengthen our connection with Hashem. Let's let Hashem matter for real. With that, we're ready for a waterfall of brachos in all that we need. Maybe see that for real. If we have a strong connection with Hashem, people always ask this question. If we have a strong connection with Hashem, does it mean we never feel pain? And the answer is yes. Of course, we'll still feel pain at times. Remember our rules? We said that in the reality where Hashem is real, there's one set of rules. In the place of Hashem's hiddenness, there's a whole different set of rules. And we buy into those rules and we believe them as if they're true. When Hashem is in the picture, we accept that sometimes pain exists. That's the rule about pain, that it exists. There's life and death. There's food and hunger. There's love and loss. There's health and illness. We beg Hashem for all revealed good. At the same time, we know that we don't always get what we want. We understand that we don't understand Hashem's ways. That's the rule about pain when Hashem is in the picture. When Hashem is chas v'shalom not in the picture, we look at pain as something avoidable. Happiness and pleasure is the ideal end worshipped goal. Pain by contrast, is seen as the ultimate symbol of shame and failure. As a result, we have zero tolerance for pain. We don't give ourselves space to be in pain or to process our pain because we think we're not supposed to be feeling pain and we're ashamed of feeling pain. It's not how it's supposed to be. In this space, pain is like a dead end. It's as if there's a sign near the problem. The sign says, dead end, no through traffic. We sit down in our pit and we park there. We're stuck. It seems as if the only way forward is to run away from this place or to hide or to stay there stuck, to be miserable. When we let Hashem matter to us, we know that Hashem never gives us a dead end. There's no such thing. Ein HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba b'trunya imbriyesev. Hashem doesn't give us a dead end. Hashem doesn't give us a road on which we cannot go forward. He does at times give us bumps in our road. The sign near the problem or the painful situation says, bump in the road, reduce speed. This is a sign worth paying attention to. It's worth following. To deal with our pain, we need to slow down a bit. It takes time to process what's going on. It takes time to be kind to ourselves. It takes a focus of attention to be gentle with ourselves and to change our thinking because we tend to beat ourselves up. So to really redirect our thoughts and just be gentle with ourselves. That's what we need to do when we're facing pain. Reduce speed. Give yourself more love, more care, more therapeutic conversation between your head and your heart. Pain is real. Pain is the shattering loss. It may be the loss of life or the loss of a dream. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to feel sad when something sad is happening. Being in pain doesn't mean you don't have emunah and bitachon. It doesn't mean you're undeserving, chas v'shalom. It doesn't mean you're anything less than a beautiful person. It doesn't mean you didn't yet learn the secret path, the magical answer, the mastered key to happiness. No such thing. Sadness is an emotion just like happiness is an emotion. As we go through our lives, there will be times when we feel sad and times when we feel happy and times when we'll feel happier. The dead end idea is an alternate reality rule. When we decide that because of this pain, we can't do this day, that's not pain. That's misery. That's man-made suffering. That comes with stress, resentment, anger, blame, shame, and guilt, and it's all unnecessary chaos. If you're in pain about something and you're feeling stuck, visualize the dead end sign. Look for it. You see it there? That dead end sign? It says, no through traffic. You can't go through here. You're going to be stuck here and you're going to be miserable, or you could run away. Replace that sign with a sign that says, bump in the road, reduce speed. And do what the sign says. Reduce your speed. Slow down. You need more energy, more kindness, more gentleness, more refueling, more kochesecha v'chayusecha to get through that pain. Take time to give it to yourself. Let Hashem be with you in your pain. Here's another tool that helps for pain. Write a letter to Hashem or talk to Hashem. Right? A lot of people do this. But the new idea that I'd like to introduce perhaps is don't stop with telling Hashem your pain. Don't stop there. Take another minute. Think about who Hashem is and think about who you are. Think about all that we're talking about, how much Hashem loves you and how connected we are to Hashem. From the place of that awareness, imagine what Hashem would tell you right now. Wouldn't He offer you strength? Wouldn't He offer you comfort? Wouldn't He comfort you? Wouldn't He embrace you? Wouldn't He encourage you? He would give you whatever you need. He would tell you whatever you need to hear that will make you feel better. What might that message be? What might those words be? Tell it to yourself. Take it. Give it to yourself. Give yourself that hug. And there's one more thing about pain. A lot of times when something painful happens, people start analyzing and explaining why Hashem did it. The truth is that pain is completely beyond our understanding. Only Hashem knows His thoughts. We don't know. We don't understand. It's arrogant to think that we do. Bitachon in Hashem invites miracles, true. Davening and doing more mitzvahs invites miracles, emes, v'yatze, v'nachon, it's true. And at the same time, what happens when there's no miracle? What happens when there's no miracle yet? Having bitachon doesn't mean I trust that Hashem will give me what I want. Having bitachon means I trust that I'm in His good hands, always. He's taking good care of me. He's taking good care of all of us, even in this darkness. He's holding me. He's carrying each and every one of us, holding us close to Him. And even when we cannot see the goodness, we trust that Hashem loves us. We simply can't understand His ways. Someone once asked a rabbi about the Holocaust. He said, "Please explain the Holocaust to me. Why did we have such a horrific loss? How could Hashem have allowed such a terrible tragedy to happen?" The rabbi said, "You know what? I dare not answer your question." The Nazis, Yamach Shemam v'Zichram, had a logical reason for what they were doing. They understood it. They were fine with it. If I answer your question and you feel satisfied with my answer, and somewhere in your mind there's sense to this situation, how would we be different from the Nazis? Pain is beyond our understanding because Hashem Himself is beyond our understanding. We don't know why Hashem does what He does. It would be cruel to even try to explain. When we're in pain, we daven to Hashem that Mashiach should come now. We take every ounce of pain and we invest it in a practical action that can make Mashiach come 1 minute sooner. The cover page of the Sefer HaYom Yom says it well. It says, every day a person must ask themselves, what have I done and what am I doing to alleviate the birth pangs of Mashiach's arrival? And here's one more message about pain. I thought that was the last one, but this is the last one for today. One of the Baal Tanya's Hasidim was very wealthy. He lived well and gave a lot of money to tzedakah, but later in his life, he lost all of it. He lost his business, he lost his home, and on top of that, he lost his dignity. He had the shame of owing money to many people. This Chassid came to the Baal HaTanya and poured out his bitter heart. The Baal HaTanya heard him out and put his head down. Then he lifted his head and said in a tune, "You told everything about what you need. But what you are needed for, about this, you said nothing." The chassid fainted and had to be carried out of the room. When he got back to himself, he thought about what the Rebbe had said, and he decided to focus on what he is needed for. He completely changed the rule of his game. Instead of thinking about what he needed, his entire focus became what he was needed for. He invested all his energy into his learning, his davening, and helping others. A short while later, the Baal HaTanya sent a message asking for this chassid to come back again. When the chassid came back, the Baal HaTanya said, "Now that you know and you feel dem emes havaya la'olam, that Hashem is true, and you're approaching life with this truth, you could go home and Hashem will give you hatzlacha." And so it was. True fulfillment in life is not about getting all that we need. Fulfillment in life is stepping up to do what we are needed for. When we feel the pain of our unmet needs, let's ask ourselves a new question. What am I needed for? Hashem needs us to know Him. Now, need is a very strong word, so I want to clarify what I mean. Hashem chooses to need us to know Him. Hashem wants us to look beyond the curtain of the world that hides His reality and know that He is the King of the world. He's in charge. And the fulfillment of all of that will be when Mashiach comes, when all of the world will be filled with awareness of Hashem like waters cover the sea. That's the Navi Yeshaya's description of Umal ha'aretz de'as Hashem kamayim layam mechasim. That's Mashiach. That's when our job has been done. That's when we have known Hashem in every inch of space. Hashem gives each of us a space, a little stage in which we can fulfill what we're needed for. Your body, your health, your home, with all the people in it, with all the people in your life, with all the money and things that you have or don't have, that's your stage. That's the place where we fulfill what we're needed for. That's my stage. That's your stage upon which we can let our neshama shine forth. Now, sometimes we wake up in the morning and the stage looks so inviting. We feel like dancing straight into the day. We're ready to go and live. Sometimes, for reasons unknown to us, for reasons unfathomable beyond the human mind, Hashem gives us painful realities. The stage is not pretty. Now, if our rule about life is that we could only do our life when the stage is beautiful or when the stage is perfectly set, when we like the stage, then helplessness and despair make sense. Sometimes it's the only logical conclusion. If you wake up in the morning and you feel weak, if you have no kayach to smile and face your day, and we all have such days, it's time to change our rule. A great scene is not when you have everything you need, or even most of the things that you need. A great scene is not even when you like it. A great scene is when you take one tiny step forward to do what you're needed for. So when we look at the stage that is our life, sometimes there's joy, sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's even greater joy or even greater pain. There's real pain. We look at it and say, Hashem, here's where you want me to know you today. Are you serious? You want me to make a difference? You want to make a difference to this darkness? And if we look again and no miracle happened yet, then obviously Hashem said, yes, here's where I want you to know me today. So what are we going to say? We say, Hineni, I'm here. I'm showing up. I'm going to think about you. I'm going to know you. I'm going to do all the avodah it takes to let your reality matter to me. We don't look back at our aves and imais or at anyone and say they were great because they were rich or popular. We don't say they were great because they managed this huge company or they built a successful business. We don't say they were great because all their children looked clean and neat and were healthy and were smart and were the valedictorian and got great shidduchim and got accepted to this yeshiva or that one seminary and they made a good impression on everybody they met. We don't say that, actually. We say they were great because they showed up to their stage and they said, Hineni, I'm here. And they stood up with dignity, with courage, and beautiful strength to fulfill what they were needed for. Each of us has an important mission to accomplish. Give this minute your best shot. Make your best move. Play your best game. Let your neshama shine forth in all its glory. That's what we're needed for. And that's what a truly successful day and a successful life is about. Every time we do this, it adds up. Every time we do this, the curtain that hides Hashem becomes just a little bit thinner. And we're getting to that place of Umal ha'aretz de'as Hashem kamayim liyam mechasam, and the whole world will be filled with the awareness of Hashem like water covers the sea. When that happens, there will be no more pain or hunger, no more broken hearts, no more darkness, and no more tears of sorrow. We're really getting there, my friends. We're really down to the place where every mitzvah matters. Every Shema Yisrael makes a difference. Together, we're bringing on the Geula here and now.